Anyway, so good morning, everybody. I'm Darlene Kisher. I've been with Vox for 5 years now. Oh, that's so cool. Five years. And one of the best decisions I've ever made. Met some amazing people and really grateful for the connections and to be a part of such a beautiful wellness company that I believe has no limits and is allowing people to also get out, live with certainly less limits. And so I'm going to talk to you today about living without limits. This is me in Costa Rica, March 2020, before all this crazy stuff happened in the world. I am ziplining. What I had told myself before this trip, this was an active trip to Costa Rica. Went with a travel agent friend of mine who loves Costa Rica, had been there, 50 times. So she knew the area very well, and we planned a very active trip. And I'm not an adventurous person by nature. I grew up with a very traditional family. Father was a police officer, mother was a secretary, and I come from a family of warriors. They can be warriors, so I will say, they'll go to bat for their family. They'll lay down their life for sure for any of us, but they worry a lot. And so I heard, so often, oh, honey, are you sure you want to do that? Oh, that's going to make you so tired. Oh, that's maybe too much for you. Are you sure you have time for that? Oh, just, so I heard a lot of those limitations growing up, a lot of fear-based stuff. And so for me to do something like this was a big deal. And I have those moments of just, I guess there's something in me that wants to step out, but I have to do a psychological, I have to set a mindset for myself. So before this trip, I said, I'm doing everything. I'm not going to be afraid. And we did. So when they're strapping me up with this harness and they're explaining, you got to hold on to the little pulley thing, but don't squeeze too hard. We've had people lose fingers and lean back, but don't lean back too far because then you'll slow it down and then you get stuck in the middle of it. And then you'll have to, manually work your way one way or the other. And anyway, I did get stuck a couple of times and had to do that. And boy, what a workout that was for my arms. But to be dangling like halfway across high above all these trees in the rainforest was quite something. But boy, I had a blast. We went whitewater rafting. We went on the suspension bridges which are, a little bouncy, and they're high up in the air across the trees as well. So there was I set my mind to it. And so we're going to talk about that today, about living without limits, things that cause us to stop ourselves, the fear-based, or the patterns that stop us from living a full life. And so you're going to be seeing my notes behind me here, which I thought was a kind of a fun way to present. So life is about patterns, and this is based on Tony Robbins Ultimate Breakthrough Challenge 2022. He says life is all about patterns, and we have patterns that make us happy and peaceful, energized, positive. We also have patterns that, make us sad, angry, negative, are not healthy for us. Patterns are habitual. We don't have to think about them. We do them automatically. And that's the nice thing about the good ones. But what about the patterns that aren't healthy, productive, or energizing to us? We don't have to think about them. We do them automatically. And so that can be a problem when we are trying to change them. If those patterns aren't working for us, we have to do something about that. The one thing that he said, I thought was really, not just the one thing, but one thing that he did say is there are no broken people, just patterns that don't work. So that kind of gives me hope. I don't know about you. So what do we do with the patterns that don't work? Can we change them? Well, the good news is yes, we can. And we can create new ones. But for things to get better, you have to get better. For things to change, you have to change. So how do we change these patterns? Well, we do them by, first of all, recognizing them. Which ones work? Which ones don't work? And how are we using them? Pattern utilization. How are we using them in our business, time management, personal relationships, finances? And then how do we create new ones? Well, it's all about energy. Energy is the key. Energy is the single most important element to a successful life. It's really difficult to make a breakthrough in those changes if you have low energy, if you believe the world is against you, nothing ever goes right, everything is so difficult, I'm just too tired for this. If you believe the world's against you, you can't do anything. But if you have the energy and you feel that anything is attainable, anything is attainable. So it's all about energy. So how do we get into a peak state, a state of high energy to make these changes? Rate your energy right now. Show me with your fingers, how do you feel right now? Is it a 5 out of 1 to 10? Is it a 2? Is it an 8? How's everybody feeling? Oh, hey, wow. This is my Vox group. Tony doesn't usually have these high scores. So he'll say that the average score is about 5. And so he'll say, you know, do you want to have a relationship with a 5? Do you want to go into business with a 5? Do you want to buy socks from a 5? Not likely. So that's why we have to learn to change our energy and get ourselves into a peak state. So how do you do that when your energy is low? Well, Tony talks about the main source of energy not coming from a great sleep or great food, although those things can help with your energy levels. He talks about energy being trained like a muscle, and we train it with sound and movement. And he does this example just like I was doing there. So he'll have everybody, if you slip down into your chair and you put your head down and you talk low and you just slump down in your chair, how does that feel? Your energy will be low, right? Your body's in this almost fetal position and you'll feel low. But if you sit up straight and you put your shoulders back, just by that very change in your posture, your energy increases. It's incredible, really. And studies have shown that by putting your body into a different position, or he'll call them power posing, that you can increase your testosterone, which is your power hormone, by 20%. And you can decrease cortisone, which is your stress hormone, by 25%, just by changing your posture. So our bodies change our minds. And this was a study done by Alyssa Lansdale. So another study I thought was kind of interesting to go to. So let's talk about that power posing. Power posing is putting yourself in different positions consciously so that you shift the energy in your body. So you may not know this, but power posing can start as soon as you open your eyes in the morning. People who wake up with their arms and their legs stretched out feel more bright and more optimistic than the 40% of people that start their day in the fetal position. So if you tend to sleep curled up, you can still start your day before you even get out of bed by extending your arms and extending your legs. And I'll tell you, just by reaching your arms up, if you do that for me right now, reach your arms up. That, I don't know if you feel a difference, but your blood starts moving, you feel brighter. And that's why I was trying to get you to do that during jump. That is such a good, I'll tell you, put music on and I can't help but move my body. I don't know what it is, but I grew up with music, and we used to dance in our house. Wish we still did that, but I love to dance. And you might have seen some of my videos too, that yeah, it's a great way to start the day. So honestly, just before you get out of bed, extend your arms and your legs, and you'll be starting in a more powerful position. But here's some more ideas for you for power posing. This first one is called the boss. And so it involves standing up and putting your hands on a desk or a table. Oh, I'm trying to get into the screen here. And you're firmly planting yourself. And this will make you feel more confident, calm, and collected, and prepare you for the day. It's interesting, isn't it? The next one's called the president. Think about what you might do before an important meeting or an interview. You're probably in the waiting room. You got your head down, that hunched position. You're looking on your phone, maybe going through some notes, looking through your calendar. You're not going to be in a power position. So instead, now go to another private space. Don't do this in the interview, but put your feet up on the table and go into this power pose of the president. And so you've got yourself up, your feet up for a couple of minutes. And those experiments show that high power posers are more likely to get hired because they present themselves in a more authentic and comfortable way and more enthusiastic. It's psychological, man, it is psychological. Here's the next power pose, superhero. She called it the Wonder Woman, but I wanted to include the guys in our group. But this is channeling your favorite superhero. And you take the Wonder Woman or the classic crime fighting pose where you've got your hands on your hips and your shoulders back. And actually, Tony Robbins did a study like this as well, showing again, testosterone goes up, cortisol goes down just with 2 minutes of standing with your hands on your hips and your shoulders back. Also raise your chin. That also gives more of that power tripping sort of feeling, right? Lifting your chin up. Another classic move. This last one is lovely, right? Victory. Stretching out your arms as though you have won the gold medal in the Olympics. It's such a natural victory move. Doesn't that feel good? You feel happy. You haven't even won anything today, but you got up and you made the call, and we're looking forward to a victorious day, right? And so that's a really great feeling. They say it's such a natural expression of victory that even congenitally blind people will do that when they win something. So it's a natural feeling, and it contradicts what we might do when we're face to face with someone dominant, right? We want to take that. I mean, I don't know if you could just do this in front of somebody you're arguing with, but think about the power of that. It's beautiful. And so actually I slid in a last one here, a last pose that that I appreciated. If you've ever seen The Equalizer with Queen Latifah, I decided to do my own photo shoot one day. So I got my hair up the way she did. I got my black jacket on, black shirt, and I went into this power pose of my own, which made me feel very, very strong, very empowered. Queen Latifah in The Equalizer takes on a lot of villains. She tries to set society right. It's a really great show where she's acting for the underdog and defending the helpless, the hopeless, and it's a great show with a lot of wonderful elements. So that was the Equalizer pose that I needed to add in there for you. But so, Tony does a lot of posing in his conferences. He does a lot of movement in his conferences. He loves to get people up, and not only up and moving, but shouting. There's a lot of value as well in how you're projecting your voice. He's a guy who, he talks about different archetypes also inside your body, that we all have a warrior inside. He talks about a magician, a lover, and a sovereign, like a queen inside of us. But that warrior, if you've ever taken self-defense classes, or tried to lift something or tried to do something, they will teach you to get that, to grunt or to scream, to yell, to get stuff out, project your voice out, and it unleashes something inside, a power inside. So he'll get up every, I don't know if it's a half an hour or an hour during his conferences, because they're quite long. And he'll get up and he'll do this, like he's yelling and he's dancing and he's got music playing. And there's, again, when you move your body, it increases your energy. So even if you have to sit at your desk all day long because of work, or you've got a lot of meetings that day, be conscious of getting up every hour, set your alarm if you have to, and walk around for even 3 minutes. Or I have a coach who would say, march on the spot, get those knees up for 3 minutes. Again, even while you're sitting, get your arms up, put your feet up on the desk, try that. That extension of your legs, your body, really gets the blood moving and circulating, and it just feels better. And so when you move your body, again, you increase your energy, and increased energy takes you to a peak state. And only in that peak state can you successfully make changes that lead to a breakthrough of those changes. So Tony will say that making changes is 80% psychology and 20% strategy. So think about that. Strategy is only 20%. 80% psychology. So let's focus on the psychology of it. So how does a breakthrough happen? Or what is it? A breakthrough comes in a moment in time when the pattern you want to change becomes a must. It's no longer a should. We could say all kinds of shoulds. This is leading to the title of this talk today, but I should do this. I should do that. I should eat less desserts. I should exercise. I should read more. I should swear less. I should watch less TV. Tony says we should all over ourselves. We have a breakthrough when that should becomes a must, and we can no longer live with that thing. That's what we need to do, is to create more of shifting from a should to a must, because that's when we get things done. We move, we grind, we do, we get should done. So for most people, and in most cases, it's pain that makes us change. And then we have a breakthrough. But we don't have to wait for that moment of pain. We can create breakthroughs right now by studying our past. So Tony goes through these questions, which might be a good thing for you to jot down, think about. You can look at your past and you can ask yourself, what was the breakthrough that I had? What made it a must? And then what made it sustainable? What made it possible to keep that change? And once you figure that out, you start to see patterns in your life. Again, life is full of patterns. What was the patterns that you had in your life that needed to change? And how did you do it? How did you force it? Or how was it forced? And you can make then breakthroughs more easily and with less effort, making them less complex, because you'll know what has changed and why. And we can create breakthroughs then at our will and make this the best year ever. Isn't that exciting? We're only in March. We got a full year to go here. We got another 9 months. So 3 keys to breakthrough is strategy, story, and state. And so he listed them in actually order of least importance. He put strategy first, because again, remember that strategy is only 20%. And so he talks about the tyranny of how. The tyranny of how is that you get caught up in how to do it. You get like, how do I do this? How do I do this? And then you become uncertain, and then you just give up. And so it's really not a good place to start. So Tony would say, your mental and emotional state controls your story, and then your story controls whether or not you implement your strategy. So it really works from state to story to strategy. But we're going to go on to story. We all have a story that controls our life. Most people want a breakthrough, but we have a story that's stopping us. We don't achieve what we want because we have a story telling us we can't. Our story binds us and keeps us either from finding the strategy, or if it's right in front of our face, we're not even going to see it. Our expectations color what we notice. We will find whatever we're looking for. So here's a little exercise. Look around your room right now. Notice everything that is brown. Do you see it? Are you looking? What's brown? Take a mental note. You're looking for brown. Okay, now close your eyes and name everything that is red. Do you recall anything that's red? Now open your eyes and look for the items that are red. Now you see them, right? You will find more things that are red now that you're looking for red, because your brain is looking for red and not brown. Your brain is trying to find things that you're looking for. Seek and ye shall find. We will find what we're looking for. That makes so much sense, doesn't it? So once you have a story that this is my life, money is evil, I'm not responsible enough, I'm not good enough, it'll never happen to me, you won't see anything or believe anything to mess up that story, because your mind wants to confirm itself. If you change the story in your head, you will find the how to a breakthrough. Your story controls your life. Change your story, change your life. Moving on to number 3, the most important element to a breakthrough is your state. And again, it's your energy. We only take on the world in a peak state. In a peak state, you will change your story. Here, Tony talks about emotions. Emotion is created by motion, he will say. Remember, a big part of getting into a peak state is about motion. And when you're feeling right now is how you're using your body. It's all connected. If you're not up and ready and arms going and you're feeling victory and you're not speaking louder, your head's not up, you're not going to be in a peak state to take on that world or make those changes. So so the quality of our life is the quality of our emotions. And here's why. We all have emotional homes. We know people who have an emotional home that is angry or sad, always finding something wrong, something to be upset about. We know those people. But emotional home that is stressful, they will always find something to worry about. What is your emotional home? Because we all go back to that emotional home. It's about changing that home to something that serves us, an emotional home of love, an emotional home of gratitude, an emotional home of resilience. Habitually and patternly we will return to our emotional home. So we want to make sure that emotional home is serving us well. Our story is emotionally linked to our emotional home. So if your story that is life is a struggle, what would your emotional home be? Stressful, fear, hardship. If your story is life is a test, what would your emotional home be? Your story is life is a party, exciting, it's fun. Your life is sacred. Your life is a dance. What would your emotional home be? Think about that. Our story is emotionally linked to our emotional home. What is the story you've been telling yourself about your life? Think about it. Once you've decided what your story is, you will see that color brown everywhere. You will see that hardship everywhere, or you will see that joy everywhere. So here's some questions to ask yourself. What is the story I've been telling myself about my life? What is the limiting story that's got to go? What's my new story? What are the emotions I'm going to feel every day? What will my new emotional home be? Answers to these questions will help you change your story and therefore change your life. So stop limiting yourself. Change your patterns, force some breakthroughs, and live without limits. I'm going to end with the picture of this gentleman. Oh, my goodness. Nick Vujicic. What a guy. So he's Australian American Christian motivational speaker, born with a rare disease, without arms and legs. Now, Nick has every reason to limit his life, to believe that his life is limited. But Nick swims, he plays golf, he plays piano, he speaks in front of millions of people every year. Nick is an amazing person, and he certainly has made the breakthroughs and shifted his energy to be able to live a life without limits. The end.